One of the most interesting characters in the Matrix universe is the Frenchman, better known as the Merovingian. He is one of the oldest and most powerful programs of the simulation, one that we've theorized could be the villain in Matrix 4, the leader of the exiles, and the nemesis of the Oracle. This rogue program is one of the few that spoke the truth to Neo, and who could be seeking to destroy the entire system. Neo was guided by supposed choices, lies from the Oracle to lead him to fulfill a purpose. Since choice was nothing more than an illusion, it leaves us with the realization that the Merovingian was always right, and that is why he is so dangerous. How dangerous? Let's find out. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
In the Matrix trilogy, there were multiple antagonists that our heroes had to face. In the original Matrix, there were the agents and the simulation itself. In Matrix Reloaded, bigger threats were introduced. The Architect and a new version of Agent Smith with the capability of infecting other programs and humans. The Matrix Revolutions showed us a definitive version of Smith who has become an apocalyptic entity, and Deus Ex Machina, who at first was an antagonistic figure but then was forced to help Neo to stop the bigger threat that was Smith. Matrix 4 may continue the path laid out by the previous trilogy. We could see the manifestation of the most dangerous program of all, the Merovingian, one that by his intelligence may antagonize even the most powerful programs in the simulation. The reason why the Merovingian could be the villain of Matrix 4 is his philosophical stance. He is the enemy of the Oracle, not only on a personal level, but also ideological.
A very dangerous program. One of the oldest of us. He is called the Merovingian.
The Oracle added choice to the equation. It was a farce created to keep humans and the anomaly manipulated. Every decision Neo thought he made was a lie. They were nothing more than a roadmap of options created by the Oracle to lead him to the source. But if there's anyone who spoke the truth to Neo, it was the Merovingian.
We know the answer to that question. But do you? You think you do, but you do not. You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here and then you obeyed. It is, of course, the way of all things. You see, there is only one constant, one universal. It is the only real truth. Causality. Action, reaction, cause and effect.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
For the Frenchman, there is only cause and effect. Choice is a lie, and time would prove him right. Smith had infected the Matrix, and Neo made a deal with Deus Ex Machina. Neo faced Smith in the simulation because he still believed that he was making the decisions.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
Neo continued to believe the Oracle's lies till the end, but then he was faced with a dichotomy, the illusion of choosing or not choosing, destiny or free will. When Neo finally realizes that choice wasn't real, he gives up and is assimilated by Smith.
What are you afraid of?
Trick!
You were right, Smith. You were always right.
Neo understood that he mustn't choose. He must accept cause and effect, thus vindicating the Merovingian. Listen to the words of the Wachowskis at the end of The Path of Neo.
Now, the real reason we're here is to discuss the big problem we faced in turning these three movies into a video game. You see, at this point in the story, Neo stands on the verge of Satori, ready to resolve the paradox of choice and choicelessness, of free will versus fate, but that can only be achieved through an act of surrender, which occurs after he has abandoned the perspectival nature of truth, accepting the totality of present consciousness, which ultimately allows an evolutionary transition.
Transcending the Cartesian dilemma through the emergence of delimited spirit, which then provides the world with a choice of a third path, the path of me, the path of he.
You promised you wouldn't do that.
Shh.
Satori is the Japanese Buddhism term for enlightenment or understanding. It is a state where only the existence of the present is accepted. On the other hand, Cartesian dualism proposed that the body cannot separate from the mind or spirit. Neo must accept the present, surrender the paradox of choice, and accept the inevitable. His sacrifice is what allowed the destruction of Smith. Neo understood that choice was simply an illusion. Still not convinced that choice is a lie? That every time the Oracle gave Neo a choice, she was simply guiding him down the path that she desired? Let's see what Lana Wachowski had to say about choice.
Well, the whole arc of the path is that the first one shows this sort of choice world of red and blue pill, but then the second one gets to the same exact paradigm. So there's two doors. The doors are exactly the same as the red pill, blue pill. But the whole point is that by the time Neo is at the door, you want the audience to be conjoined with Neo so that you understand that there is no choice. That choice is in itself an illusion.
The only character in the Matrix universe that resembles the directors is the Merovingian. You could say that he is their personification in the film.
Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
That choice is in itself an illusion.
But then what does this mean for Matrix 4? If the previous trilogy was the fight against the contradiction in choice, Matrix 4 would have to start from that illusion of choice. If choice was already deconstructed, now it's time to deconstruct the last philosophical point that the films proposed: cause and effect. This places the Merovingian in a prominent role in the new film, the focus of the story, or at least its philosophical part.
Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it. Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless. And this is how you come to me, without why, without power. Another link in the chain.
The Matrix universe has a particularity that no other films have. We can talk about its lore, about what happens in the world, watching fights between machines and humans, while simultaneously using deep philosophical themes and symbolisms. Neo is trying to save the woman he loves, while simultaneously functioning as an instrument to convey highly profound philosophical ideas, such as one's own choices and destiny. Therefore, we cannot ignore what could be the fundamental pieces in the Matrix 4 philosophy. The Matrix is not only a piece of fiction, their ideals are very important. Understanding this, the Merovingian represents the last unsolved paradox. Can humans escape cause and effect? As much as Neo tried, he could not save Trinity. He ended up helping the machines and was possibly returned to the source, just as the architect said it would happen. Everything was orchestrated by the Oracle, and although she was playing a dangerous game, nothing that happened was out of her control. So is humanity condemned to live in the clutches of cause and effect and the illusion of choice inside the Matrix? Programs like the Architect and the Oracle function as almost omniscient deities, which have control over everything that happens. This is why the act of choosing is not real. No human can predict the actions of the machines, but the Merovingian is not human. He is one of the oldest programs in the Matrix. The Merovingian understands that the Matrix works with cause and effect, but he can still manipulate other programs for his personal interests. This leads us to believe that although for humans, choice is an illusion, this may not be the case for some programs, for those who can make decisions, such as the Architect, the Oracle, and the Merovingian. This could be the reason why the Frenchman is so dangerous, because he evades the Architect and the Oracle's control. He has managed to impose his own decisions by creating a line of cause and effect. The Merovingian has threatened and even destroyed the Oracle, or rather her shell, once before.
Since I have seen how good you are at following orders, I will tell you what to do next. Run back and give the fortune teller this message. Her time is almost up.
The Frenchman wanted the eyes of the Oracle, as he always desires more power. But why? Let's say that his thirst for power is driven by his desire to replace the architect. If so, he represents a serious problem for machines and humans. He can break the truce between them, bringing chaos and destruction, and him reaching a position of ultimate power. If the Merovingian succeeds in his mission, only one person could stop him. Perhaps Matrix 4 is not about Neo trying to save humanity. Maybe the machines are the ones that bring Neo back, because he is the only human who had achieved what only the most powerful programs of the Matrix have: break free from the illusion of choice. But do you agree? Could the Matrix 4 be about the paradox of cause and effect? Do you believe that the Merovingian is going to be the main villain in the new movie? Please leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for the 50,000 subscribers.